Hey, welcome. I'm Dude's a Monster. First, I want to say that I absolutely love Arc Raiders. This is the most fun I've had video gaming in years. Embark Studios hit a major home run, punching way above their weight with this game, and I've made several other videos talking about that and praising the game. But this video isn't that. This is right now the top 5 things that have me scratching my head about changes they've made or things that they've talked about possibly coming to the game. So if you love Arc Raiders and you agree or disagree, let's talk about this and tell me what you think. Let's get into it. All right, so first I want to discuss a little honorable mention. This would have been number 6 on the list, but I couldn't do this top 5 list without at least mentioning this. There's been a lot of talk about pre-built or ready-made loadouts so that when you get knocked out of a raid, you can go back to Speranza. If you got the materials, quick load up with some items that are already picked by you and saved, and right back into your next raid. I don't necessarily like the idea of this, and this is why. First of all, there's no emotional connection to your loadout. If you when you go in and you get knocked out, there's no time invested in building up and kitting out a gun, kitting out a weapon, leveling it up, putting together all the items you need, like shield rechargers and heals and ammunition and all the things that you need in the time that you spend there in your stash. Right? Crafting items, checking on quests. Oh, I don't have enough of this, so I got to go see Celeste, turn some seeds in for some metal parts to build that. And, oh, look, this loadout is not what I would ideally like to run, so I got to run a raid or two, pick up a few more items before I can kind of finalize it to the thing that I actually love to run. That is a lot of emotional time that you have invested in putting that kit together. And when you get knocked out of a raid, yes, it hurts. The thought of going back to your stash, back to your hideout, and having to build all that over again, we've all been there. We know how it feels. But what you don't think about is that that's the very reason why you love and are so thrilled when you actually go in and have a super successful raid, right? Complete a couple of quests, find a couple of cool items, and then make it out with your guns and everything intact. So I think that pre-built loadouts look like a good idea on paper, but if you think about what a looter shooter actually is, you don't have the risk reward of going in and possibly getting knocked out of the match and losing the items you took in there in a game like, say, Call of Duty, Warzone, where you might have a pre-built loadout and you've got items and things in your kit that you don't necessarily have to work to obtain from round to round, right? That's your loadout from match to match. You go in the match, you get knocked out, you put the loadout right back on, you go right back in. So I don't think that lends to the loop for this game. I hope that people could understand that and see it that way, because I find that a lot of you are probably going to find a different kind of video game if they do give us the option for pre-built loadouts. Now, maybe something like a pre-built weapon, like, setup that just the weapon itself, right? Some certain attachments, if you have them in your inventory, they automatically equip, like, say, favorites. But I don't really want to have an entire kit, like, ready to go for me. All right, number 5 on the list. Looting makes no sense. You have high-risk zones. You have high-risk map events like night raids, lightning storms, where it just feels like the risk isn't worth what you're going in there to loot, right? In certain areas or during certain events. Yeah, sure, you might find an increased drop rate of blueprints on night raids and things like that, but overall, the loot that you find around the map, the locations where you go find it, it's not worth going to those red areas all the time to find, certain weapons and certain things that just aren't legendary or that rare, in my opinion. If I go to a locked room at the top of the dam, right? PvP Central, I expect to find some purple guns up there, some purple items, some blueprints. I go into damn control tower room and we find renegades and anvils and arpeggios. Like, are you kidding me? We didn't come all the way over here and waste a key to come out of this room and fight our way back down for nothing. So I think we've got to take a real hard look at where they've got loot spread out at. And after this most recent update, I know they rearranged some things and where loot spawns and where you might find certain items, but I don't know, after a week of playing it, I feel like maybe it's worse than it was before. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Number 4 on the list, PvP versus PvE lobbies. Now, some people don't like PvP, and the devs are encouraging that mindset to some degree, in my opinion. They have come out and they have a whole video series on their channel talking about the making of this game and how initially it was designed to be a PvE game only, and they could not get that to work. to where the game felt fun. So they went back to changed to a PvP PvE. You understand? It's entirely too many letters for me to keep up with. They put player versus player combat in the same game type, right, and allowed for that to be a part of the game loop. And what they said was that they found a game that was fun and rewarding and had that excitement from match to match over the long term, right? And that's the game we got at release, Arc Raiders. Now, people were complaining about the PvP because, yeah, it feels bad when you lose the stuff that you brought in. It feels bad when you built this kit and you spent 20 minutes or for some of you, 45 minutes, an hour building a loadout. I don't know. But it feels bad to lose that, right? So I understand where people who are maybe playing the game a little bit more casually, they're more into fighting the Ark and getting their loot and completing their quests and getting all that stuff done. But I ask you this question. What do you do when the robots are no longer scary? Once you figure out how to beat them or avoid them altogether, where's the thrill really come from in the game, right? What do you do in the long run when you've completed all of your quests and all of your challenges and you have all the blueprints and you have everything done? What is the carrot on the end of the stick for you, right? So I'm not saying that you have to turn into someone that's running out there trying to go after and look for PvP, but the fact that it exists and the fact that there's a risk you might run into someone who's going to knock you out and your team and then take all your loot every now and then is what gives the game the highs and the lows that keep us on this emotional roller coaster that we've all come to enjoy. And it feels so exciting, right? It gives us that sense of fear while we're in match. So with that being said, I don't want dedicated PvE zones or dedicated PvE maps. I've heard some people call for that. I think they'll become populated by people who don't want to ever risk anything. But the change to the variety of matches you get on the regular maps will seriously hurt what has captured all of us about this game. The devs have come out and made statements along the lines of, this isn't a PvP game, and the Ark is the real enemy, and they have plans of making the Ark even more challenging and tougher to deal with to try to encourage more team cooperation and team play, pushing you away from PvP, but at the same time creating matchmaking modes and creating conditions that heavily push you into PvP, all while having an entire documentary film series, many videos on their YouTube channel about why they added PvP to the game and why it was such a critical element to the gameplay loop. I mean, you can see why we're confused as a community, right? I do like the idea of PvE limited time events like a buffed up matriarch run or some sort of world boss with some special loot drops and something for everyone that's involved, right? So we all come together for a certain map for like maybe a week where there's no PvP allowed and we take down a gigantic robot boss. Something like that sounds fun and cool to me. It's a limited time mode, but not something that's full-time available all the time. And then, speaking to that as well, okay, this is something that could have easily made it into the top 3 for me of things that I'm worried about, but I wanted to include it in this conversation with the PvP versus PvE. Okay, the 1v3 lobbies that they released this week with the newest update. What in the world are they thinking with this? Like, what's the mindset behind it? I don't really understand it, right? Did they do this for sweats who want to go in and try to 1v3 everybody in the most get third-partied effing game I've ever played in my entire life, right? The minute you get into any kind of fight, you're either drawing the attention of another nearby team or Ark, right? Robots, which are trying to kill you as well. So sometimes you get into a fight, you're fighting the robots and the other team and then another team. It gets crazy in there sometimes. And like, who in their right mind is going to go in there and 1v all that? Like, as an aggressive PvP player. I'm sure there's some out there, most likely. A lot of cheaters are doing that, I mean, that could be a thing too that could make this mode not fun for anyone, really, And they put the level 40 cap on it, right? You got to be a level 40 or higher. You get a little bonus XP. Who's doing that? If you're a level 40, you're over, you're halfway done with your progression at that point. And a little bonus XP, is that really going to be worth? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't really get what they were going for with this. And it makes me worry about, like, what are they thinking about the future of the game looks like, right? Now, I did hear one creator with an idea about this mode that really struck me that I was like, okay, yeah, that's the best argument I've heard for it, and I can understand that. But I just don't know how many players would be thinking in this frame of reasoning. Now, admittedly, I'm not playing solos. I don't play solos very often. I should play solos more. I want to. But I've got some friends that I run with. We run squads regularly. I like squads. It's a lot of chaos. It's a lot of fun. Solo lobbies, I've been in them, but they're a little more chilled, a little more laid back, and I don't get the same excitement out of those lobbies, that same fear factor that I spoke about earlier from solo lobbies. There's not a lot to be afraid of in there from time to time. You run into the occasional person who's aggressive, but for the most part, everybody's very friendly and chill in the solo lobbies. Hey, you need to get a matriarch done, and it's tough to do in squads. Everybody knows, man, you just go to solos. There'll be 15 guys in there ready to help you out, so neither here nor there. But what this person said about the mode was what I just said, right? Solo lobbies have become nothing to be afraid of. Everyone knows how to kill even some of the most challenging arc early on in the game, right? Like Rocketeers and Leapers. Everyone can take those out pretty easily now, right? Or avoid them pretty easily now. We know the routes, we know the paths, we know the maps. We all have map knowledge, so we know where they're at likely, and we can avoid those areas if we need to. Solos is just not scary for a seasoned solo player, right? Especially someone who's probably a level 40 or above. However, if you want to introduce that fear factor, that is what got so many people addicted to this game when it launched. You give them a 1v3 mode, right? And if they want to go in and maybe not play aggressively, but play stealthily and sneak around and try to make their way through the map and find loot, then the 1v3 mode allows them to get that same sense of rush, that same excitement as the earlier lobbies when they were running in there, not sure where they were and what's going on. So for that argument, I understand that completely. Like I do. But do we need to create a whole mode like that for that? I mean, I don't know. Who's queuing in there as a trio hoping to run into a solo? I mean, I'm really not, right? If you want more aggressive, exciting solo lobbies, you could just shoot first, Han.
Yes, I bet you have.
All right, so here are the top 3 things, and I think probably arguably the most concerning items that I have right now, like with this game, like what's going on with Arc Raiders? What is their plan for the future? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I love the game. I'm having so much fun playing it, right? But, candidly, open and honestly, I'm an ex-Call of Duty player. I'm still a Call of Duty player at heart. I love Call of Duty. But that game is in the dumpster right now. And, hopefully good things on the horizon for them in the future, but we'll see. Right now, I'm playing Arc Raiders, and for the foreseeable future, until something else comes along. But I digress. Next 3 items on the list are super concerning to me because they showcase, to me, an unclear direction as to where they're heading with this game, what the devs see the future for Arc Raiders as, right? And, like, what player feedback are they listening to? Because some of these changes that they've made recently and things they've talked about that are coming seem to be things that they're not listening to anybody, because I don't know who even asked for this, right? Let's get into the top 3 things here. Number 3 on the list, lack of content. Now, I know what you're thinking. Everybody hears lack of content. This game doesn't have enough content. We need content. There's never enough content. Every video game I've ever played, everywhere the internet screams, we don't have enough content. But what kind of content are we talking about, right? Like, I don't think we're talking about, like, oh, I need more battle pass items. I need more skins or sets or outfits, whatever you want to call them with this game. I need more weapons. Some of that is probably, of course, some of it, right? Like new maps, all that stuff. But I think content that this game needs, that it's really missing fundamentally, and I haven't seen any moves yet to better that, is we need story, right? We need a reason to buy into this game, to become even further immersed into this environment, into this universe. All right, I think we all love the concept of Arc Raiders. I know I did. The thought of this post-apocalyptic world, man versus tech, right? Fighting for survival, living underground. The concept is amazing. But then you play through the quest lines, and there's a couple of cinematics, and they were cool. But really, did they build on anything? Did they build on this narrative, right? Did they put enough meat on the bone that we could all eat it for a long time to come and be satiated, right? I feel like we need more story, more reason to believe in the struggle, because in fact, we're all desperate for it. We've got the last several years, games have felt very shallow, very hollow, very open your wallet up and buy this new thing. And here comes along Arc Raiders, takes us all by surprise. These devs do, and I will give them all the credit in the world, right? This game feels like it was made for the players. It's made for the players to have fun, to be a fun game. Okay. And I feel like that was their intention. Okay. but I don't know that they thought the game was going to be as popular as it was. It was going to resonate the way that it did. And maybe they weren't ready for this need or this desire for more of the story of our creators, but we need it. We need it. I don't know if you got to find a player out there that's writing some fan fiction already. You know, there is some. Let's get him on the horn. Let's get some new cinematics rolling. Let's get some things to talk about, right? Some things to get excited about. So, you know, again, new content doesn't mean we want just new maps or simple checklist events, right? Let's talk about that. The events, super fun. I love the events. I loved the Cold Snap event. The new player project, you know, it's just a checklist event. Go get these items, bring them back to me. You get some rewards. That's fine. That's all well and good, right? But we need story. We need customization, right? Can we get beards? I mean, as a bearded player of your game, and there's lots of them out there, I would love to make my raider look a little more like myself, be a little more representative of my own like in-game avatar, right? I think that's what we all want, right? We want to individualize our raider, right? Well, I'm tired of loading into the lobby with my friends in a trio. All three of us, no matter what we're wearing, really, we all kind of look the same. We all got the same haircut because there's only like 2 of them that are cool, and the rest of them you're putting them on to be funny, but you know, whatever. Like, let's go, okay? Let's get some customization options for the characters on the table. Like, let's get on that, you know, in my opinion. And the Sandwalker set, the new outfit set, listen, that was dope. All right. That was clean. I like that one a lot. You guys went for that Tuscan Raider look, and I got it immediately, and I've had it on since. I mean, I liked it. It's fun. Okay. But, you know, I think we can all admit that we need more style and more cool available in the store and in the battle pass for some of these outfits. There's one in there for everybody, right? You're gonna find something you like, but I mean, we just don't have enough that there's nothing. I'm not saying we need licensed content or character crossovers, but can we get some more characters that look a little more like, you know, I don't know, Mad Max and Dune or The Walking Dead, like types of survivors, right? And less like, you know, just wearing ragtag, like I'm wearing a blanket around. I don't know. Astronaut suits, like tons of those fail for whatever reason. I get it and I don't get it at the same time. Like, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. Like, if you agree with me, let me know down in the comments if you feel what I'm trying to say, you know, without being able to actually articulate it. But more customizable colors and options for the outfits could go a long way for that too, right? We could mix and match pants and tops and helmets and more color schemes available to us. So that could help that out as well. All right, number 2. All right, the second most important thing that I'm really concerned about with the game. Admittedly, I haven't run into this issue. Maybe one time I've suspicious of it, but I play on PlayStation 5. That's where I game on our creators. So I'll say I don't run into it very often, but cheating, seems to be a bigger issue on PC. How big of an issue is it? I don't know for sure, but I will tell you this. And Embark, if you happen to see this video, I know, I don't get the kind of traction some creators do at this point, but I hope you're paying attention to what's going on around you. And with the update this week and the patch notes, I got the real vibe. I got the real sense that maybe you haven't been paying attention to what's happened around you in the industry with some other games, some notably very popular and high-profile games, like Call of Duty Warzone, for example, because I came from there. I was a Warzone player. I was a Call of Duty player. For 20 years, I've been a serious Call of Duty player. And, there were periods of time in the game for the last 5 years where cheating became a major problem. And then there was periods of time where I think they did make some strides in getting ban waves and getting cheaters off of the game for a short period of time. But even in those lulls where it felt like the cheating situation was better for a little while, then it comes up and, it's always a struggle, right? Every video game company struggles with keeping cheaters off of the game. It's just a sad reality, man, going back as far as the earliest online competitive multiplayer games I ever played, back in the day when I played Unreal Tournament and a little game called Viet Cong was one of my first shooter games. Ghost Recon, games like that. Those were games on PC I played 20 something years ago, and there were cheaters, and exploiters, and it happens. You can't eliminate it completely. But if your game gets a reputation for being riddled with cheaters, then you don't even need cheaters in the game, right? Then all of a sudden everyone starts seeing ghosts and everyone is a cheater. everyone who kills you becomes, man, that probably was a hacker. Maybe that was a hacker. I'm pretty good at this game because we all think we're the best, right? And, you know, you just start pointing fingers at things that aren't really there, right? And the answer to all of this week, which was, you know, I hope this just wasn't explained thoroughly enough, but a first offense, a 3-strike system, right? First offense, a 30-day ban, and then a 60-day ban, and then a permanent ban for cheating. Like, what are we doing? If you catch or you know that someone is absolutely cheating or hacking in the game, I hope, for the love of everything, that you are just banning that person outright, right? No second chances. No one is going to get that 30-day ban and just be like, you know what? They're right. I should probably just go ahead and delete the cheats off my system and play straight up. Be for real. Be for real. That's kind of like a joke. It's kind of a slap in the face to the rest of us. All right, and the number one thing that worries me the most about where this game is headed, some of you are going to laugh at this because you're going to think I'm being ridiculous, but the Bird City event. Yeah, the Bird City event is the one thing I'm most worried about. Can we just talk about the fact that this map event has been up for almost a week now, and I've played every single night this week almost since the update, and you know, probably put more hours in this week than I've been able to in an entire week since the game dropped. All right, I'm a working professional. I'm a father. All right, I'm a gamer, and you know, trying to be, you know, I got a busy schedule. All right. And so I get to play for a few hours a night. We stream, you know, we play the game a few hours, you know, 3 or 4 nights a week. What we try to do. And I have yet to be able to do the Bird City event. Like, I have not gone to the map to jump into a raid, and that's available to me. Whatever window they have that rotating on, I've heard several different 6-hour, 4-hour, 8-hour, whatever it is. The hours that it's available just seem to not work for like half of the player populace. And if you go to X and you see the comments on some of the posts for our creators, it sounds like, you know, it's not just me. There's a lot of people out there that haven't even got to check this event out. And that, dude, that is not, listen, this is why it's the number one thing that I'm concerned about. All right. That is not cool, for one, to leave out over half of your player base for something like that, all because their schedules don't line up with your schedule. Bro, you're here for us in a way, right? Like, we're here to play your game. We don't have to play. So, like, get your shit together. You can't put events up and block people out. Like, it needs to be, I don't know what's going on with it, right? And I haven't even seen a statement or heard anything from them. We're, almost a week since the update, and they haven't made any kind of adjustments to it that I'm aware of. Maybe I missed it. Let me know down in the comments if they did. But as of me recording this right now, nothing. So that leads me to believe, or leads me to worry, what are they thinking about, right? Like, where's their priorities when they're instituting a change or a new update or a new event as far as like how it affects the players? I know they're thinking about that. All right, I'm not so dense and so selfish to believe that they're just over there like counting their money and doing whatever. But I've seen it happen before, right? I'm just saying, like, in general, can we just be a little more thoughtful about, you know, how you're delivering your content to the players, right? Because all in all, every little update and every little thing that you do like this is going to affect your perception or the overall opinion of people and how they view your game. And believe it or not, I have friends and I have people that I play with that are still new. They're just now getting the game and checking it out for the first time. You're still building your player base at this moment. I think Arc Raiders is still on the rise and could continue, except for things like this. All right. Now, with that being said, are these things, you know, fatal to the performance of this game right now? No. I don't think that they are. Just these are the things that concern me the most. And in general, the game exploded and we all fell in love with it because it was, to so many of us, damn near perfect at launch, right? There were bugs and some exploits, sure, but the gameplay loop, the events, the overall flow of everything was just perfect. And I feel with things like the 1v3 lobbies and the total miss with Bird City, are they even aware of what the player base actually wants, right? Cooler skins, beards, fake purple guns worth using and risking. End of list. You know, new maps will come and I can't wait. But some of the fundamentals need to remain in place for the game to feel the same as it did in the beginning. Because you caught lightning in a bottle, and the hardest thing, besides trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice, It's trying to put the lightning back in the bottle because you took the lid off and let the lightning out. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Man, this was kind of a rambling video, I know. But if you made it this far and you enjoyed the content and you want to see more, please leave a like, subscribe, help us get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I appreciate you guys so much. And, you know, until next time, man, see you topside. Peace.
Dude's a monster, rises again.